Hello, I'm a Heavy Thrasher of National Production Channel at YouTube. No, I am doing no outtakes. I am back to resume the Tank Review discography, or discography review, which is the best way to put it. So, last album I reviewed was Power of the Hunter, excuse me. Now we're in the year 1983. After that album was released, it was, I guess, given mixed reviews since I didn't live in that era. But as far as reviews go, it's either that album is either looked as one of the band's best or one of the band's worst. However, what can be said about the next album that would come in this year of 1983? Lineup, sure, lineup did change. The Brabs brothers were still behind Algie Ward, but here comes new guy, Mick Tucker, who was probably obviously came at a band such as Axis and White Spirit for a while, and two other new wave or British heavy metal bands. But as within the year 1983, musical changes were definitely evident. You know, you have the glam bands that were definitely getting quite much airplay, and then you get also the more faster bands such as Metallica and Anthrax and and Slayer and so forth that were definitely coming out, pretty much creating the thrash metal sound. However, with Tank, what sound are they going to end up taking? Is it going to be the glam sound, or is it going to be a thrash sound, or is it going to be a little more melodic sound, and still keeping the new wave of British heavy metal roots still intact? So, they then end up getting a new producer this time, ditching Nigel Gray and deciding not to go back with Fats Eddie Clarke. They get John Verity, who actually produced the very first Saxon album in 1979. And the album that he produces is This Means War, which is the band's third album. Upon this album's released, people were skeptic. They got a second guitar player, or really, fourth member, gets a new producer. Is it going to be still in the same style as Power of the Hunter? Is it going to go back to the very raw, punky, like Motorhead influenced Filth Hounds of Hades? Or are they going to go in a different direction? And when this album was released, the person who bought this record, or whoever bought it, takes it home, puts it on his turntable, and what comes out of his speakers or his headphones, he or she are definitely welcomed by the sounds of synthesizers, keyboards, and just a sound that the person was not expecting. One look at the cover, one would think that this would just be a rip-roaring, it would just start off rip-roaring. Sorry if I repeated that. But he is given synthesizers first. And it takes almost a little of a minute before he starts thinking that all hope is all lost. Before he gets bashed in the brains by what will become Just Like Something from Hell, which is a very fitting title. The synthesizers build up to one of the album's most epic speed metal songs of the album, but this isn't close to the sound that was presented on Filth Hounds of Hades. It's a little more closer to the likes of Judas Priest, the likes of Iron Maiden, to the likes of even some of the more melodic bands. And this is by the time of 1983, when bands such as even Saxon, even Iron Maiden to some extent, and even just almost some of these other new wave of British heavy metal bands were kind of changing their sound up a bit. And 1983 was definitely that type of year, and Tank definitely changed their sound a bit. It was only a little minor tweaking, but still kept that raw sound. It kind of went back to a bit, but just adding a little more difference. And it's probably even evident with new guitarist Mick Tucker adding a bit more his flavor to the mix. And just like Something from Hell is definitely, that is evident within that track. But then we get to the second song, Hot Lead and Cold Steel. Bit more of a, not technically slow, but it's definitely a little more of an upbeat kind of track. A little more on the hard rock side of things. But still sounds pretty damn good. More melodic. But then we get to the title track, This Means War. But the speed kind of gets a little pushed, but not too much. It's not a speed metal song, but just the beat gets a little energized a bit, but not too. Like again, it's not a speed metal song, but it is definitely a melodic, heavy rocker of a song. And it would still stay in the band's live sets to come. Definitely a good track. However, what's track number 4? Could this be the nail in the coffin? Even though the listener isn't too sure whether or not he's liking this album. But when track 4 comes in, it comes like a bat out of hell. And that's Laughing in the Face of Death, which is even more aggressive than just like Something from Hell. It's more heavier. It's a little almost thrashy as well, since bands such as Metallica and even Slayer and Anthrax later on in 1984, definitely it's in this almost sound like that, but it's not nearly as aggressive as the song Power of the Hunter, but it is still a punch, still packs quite a bit. But then here comes track 5. I Won't Ever Let You Down. If we go down fighting, I just screwed that up. Yeah, whatever. I'm not very good at reviews. Anyways, track 5 is If We Go Down Fighting. This is probably the when the album gets a little more melodic. This one is definitely more on the hard rock side of things. Almost has a bit of a, I guess there's definitely a pre-sound to it, but there's definitely a little bit of an AC/DC feel to it, or maybe better yet, maybe Crocus. Definitely some of that Crocus sound in there, but it's definitely more melodic. And now the listener isn't thinking, what the fuck? But it's not bad. In my opinion, it ain't a bad track. However, since I kind of screwed up, number 6 is definitely If We Go Down Fighting. And it's another melodic song, definitely a little similar to If We Go Down Fighting. Definitely has that bit of a AC/DC Crocus feel to it. But still not bad. Probably not as good as If We Go Down Fighting, but it's still good. However, if you had the American pressing, this, or at least not the French pressing, but if you just had the regular pressing of this album, the album does end with Echoes of a Distant Battle, which is the second longest song on this album, next to Just Like Something from Hell, definitely clocking around 7 minutes. And it's kind of melodic, but still has that heavy metal sound, that new wave of British heavy metal style to it. And it's a fitting way to end the album. However, if, like I said, if you had the French edition, it would end with a very odd track, which is called Swapeo, which is, it's almost like, not really like how Shell Shock started with, where it's like a march, sounds of marching, but it's a little, it's almost got a bit of a jungle sort of thing to it. I don't know, that's what, every time I hear that I think of the fucking jungle. But it's not really a song, it's just sound of Algae and the boys pretty much fucking doing almost like battle sounds. I don't know, I could never really put the words together. Wait, is this fucking thing kind of... Sorry. Ah, shit. Whatever. That's probably better. Camera's... I don't know. Fuck. Yeah, just I moved it. I'm not cutting this video short. Anyways, when this album was definitely released, and even to this day, you had people, and you still have people, that either like this album or dislike this album, or even to some extent hate this album because of it's not the sound that was presented on Filth Hounds of Hades. People will say that Filth Hounds of Hades is the band's only good album, but then you'll get people that actually will defend albums such as Power of the Hunter and This Means War. However, with this direction, how would the band stay? How would the band really react? What else lied in the future of this band? Would there be more changes? Or will they just keep going and decide to tell change to go fuck itself? Whatever it may be, the year 1984 will definitely hold the answers, the questions, and all other things that will be answered. Until then, what did you think really of This Means War? Did you think the album is a great album? Do you think it's an underappreciated album? Or do you think that the album is a bit so-so? Or do you think it's a pile of crap that the band released, and worse than Power of the Hunter? Until then, this is Heavy Thrasher saying, I am out, and I will be back again with the next review, or the installment in the Tank Discography Review, though minus live albums and EPs. This is Heavy Thrasher still saying, I am out, and I will be back.